Cage, Travolta. Two faces enter. One wins. It's John Woo's Face Off, coming up next on Least Important Things. Die!
He's the most dangerous and brilliant criminal mind I've ever known. For years, I've been watching him, tracking him, studying his every move. I know his every mannerism, facial tic, gesture. I know him better than he knows himself. And now, after all this time, I finally figured out a way to trap him. I will become him.
Welcome to a podcast called Least Important Things, a show about movies, friendship, and finding meaning in the most important of the least important things. I'm your host, Luke Ferris. In today's episode, yes, we are watching that movie, Face Off. Joining me today to talk about Face Off are my John Travolta and Nick Cage, Mike Wynne and Zach Hall. Welcome, friends. How are we feeling on the Face Off?
Me and Zach both not wanting to step on each other's toes.
I know that's it's like
It's
the opposite of the characters.
Yeah, it's like we know each other so well, yet we are on different ends of the cage match.
The cage match,
Mm.
the fight, the face-off
Yes.
fight.
The face-off fight. Yeah.
Zach, we're really glad to have you here. Now, listeners, if you've heard any of our rewatch series in the past, Zach typically is brought in on either the sequel or the worst sequel of the franchises we've covered. He's really done the journeyman work. So we decided that we would give him carte blanche and said, hey, Zach, you get to pick the movie that you're on. This is recompense for all the terrible sequels, the Bourne Legacies, the Dead Man's Chest of your podcast experience. So he chose Face Off. So this is Zach's revenge, and he's covering Face Off. Zach, what was your inkling to pick Face Off for us to cover here on season 4 of Least Important Things?
Well, I did still want to do something that had a theme of like two or like a pairing or something like that. So Face Off was a perfect pick, but also this is kind of my long running bit on this podcast of John Woo and just the movies that are absolutely atrocious yet amazing, with amazing acting in the process. Some really tours of the stage, if you will. So that's why I recommended this one. And I was so happy to rewatch it. It's my third time seeing it, and it was really cool to bring this to you guys.
Thank you. Yes, I forgot to mention Mission Impossible 2, one of your most famous appearances on the show and one of our most popular episode, with the same director, and we'll get into it. A lot of correlation between Mission Impossible 2 and this film, Face Off. But before we dive into the conversation, whether it's your first time listening or watching, or you're a friend of the show for a long time, thank you for being here. Please remember to subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts or on YouTube so you don't miss any episodes coming out on Tuesdays. Every Tuesday, a new episode of Least Important Things. You can also connect with the show at leastimportantthings.com, email the show at leastimportantthings@gmail.com, TikTok, Least Important Things, and you can connect with me on Instagram at Luke H. Ferris or on Letterboxd at Luke H. Ferris. We also have a Patreon where you can become a free member to receive email alerts when a new episode is released, video updates, exclusive conversations, and additional information about the episode. And for the same price as a cup of coffee or a pint, you can become a friend of the show and get a Least Important Things sticker. If you're watching on YouTube, sticker, exclusive content, a special note from me, and more surprises to come. Supporting the show really helps us cover the cost of our production and tools and make more episodes. So please visit our Patreon, patreon.com/leastimportantthings to learn more. And most importantly, this is an independent podcast, and the best way you can help the show is by recommending it to somebody. So please, whether you're catching up with friends over coffee or have switched faces with your mortal enemy and are hanging out at a safe house with his buddies getting high, please recommend Least Important Things. That was a long way to recommend to your friends. But if you're in that situation, please recommend. Guys, we have an exciting sponsor for today's episode. So happy to have them. as part of the show sponsoring today's episode. And I know, Zach, I've talked to Mike about this, but I just wanted, since you're here for your first time on season 4, I wanted to share with you and the listeners and the viewers that I don't endorse any product or service unless I truly believe in it, that I would use it. And it's something that I believe in. I don't want to endorse something or celebrate something and promote to you, the listener, unless you trust me because I've used it. So this is something that I will always endorse. Anytime we have a sponsor, it's because I really care about it. I'm not going to try to trick you guys to buy stuff. It's something that I believe in. And we have a great sponsor today. This episode is sponsored by the Walsh Institute. Did you ever want to look like a middle-aged 90s movie star with a glorious widow's peak, but think it was an unrealistic dream? Now you can with Walsh Institute's face replacement system. This seemingly pain-free, error-free method provides a revolutionary new way to change your face, voice, and body. What if you don't like your new face? Don't worry. Here at the Walsh Institute, we provide a 2-week return policy so you can try out your new glow-up to see if it fits. Try the Walsh Institute today and become the face of your dreams. Thank you to the Walsh Institute for sponsoring.
What a huge get, the Walsh
Big
Institute.
get. Very innovative, too.
It's huge.
I mean, they just went public with these products, so it's very exciting to have the Walsh Institute on board.
This is a product that you like truly believe in. So like, when's the last time you were a customer?
Pretty recent. I swapped faces with Jeff Goldblum, and now I as much as I loved being Jeff Goldblum for 2 weeks, I decided to go back to my face.
It had nothing to do with Jeff Goldblum not wanting anything to do with your face.
That was part of it. I just decided that I would rather look at Jeff Goldblum as Jeff Goldblum's face than look at Jeff Goldblum's with my face. It would be a much better proposition for me as a fan.
He also couldn't separate the Luke from the Jeff at week 1. After week 1, it got just way too hard. The personalities were overlapping. Audrey was getting really concerned.
She was getting very concerned.
Yeah. I heard that it's only 10 easy payments of 12 peaches a month.
Yes, they did. They do take peaches. And there's some people, there's other ways around it. There's different pathways to get this procedure done. Some people have murdered the entire facility to get it done. So there's a lot of ways you can make it work with your budget, depending on your needs. All right, our next segment is Mike's Nap Check-In. Oh, wait. No, we are canceling that segment because we have a new segment called Watch This Movie with My Partner Check-In. Mike, we learned through text prior to recording that your wife, Shannon, friend of the show, Shannon, watched Face Off with you.
Yep.
I would do the nap check-in, but I felt like this was a bigger priority. So what was Shannon's overall thoughts of watching Face Off for the first time? I'm presuming for the first time. That I don't need to presume.
Not only had she not seen Face Off, she also had no idea what it was about. And when I asked her, when I told her we were watching Face Off, and I asked her if she'd ever seen it, she said no. And I said, What do you
mean?
Yeah, what do you
haven't seen Face Off?
No, I didn't say that. I said, I forget exactly how it came up, but like I said, well, what do you think it's about? And I'm like, oh, you don't know anything about this movie. You don't know anything about what it's about. And she's like, no, I figure it's like a sports comedy movie.
Yeah. You know, it's ironic. John Woo added the slash and fought the studio on it because he was worried people thought it was going to be a hockey movie. But I guess that slash didn't work. No,
it didn't. So so Shannon had no prior knowledge to it. Now, because I had so thoroughly asked her if she knew anything about the movie, she had an idea that something was up, but did not know what was up.
She knew something nefarious was happening.
And I told her it was Nick Cage and John Travolta, which immediately piqued her interest. We are huge Nick Cage fans in this house. So anyway, there were several moments where Shannon throughout the movie had what you might call like a Brie paradox.
Yes,
right?
yes. Shout out to Bree.
In
friend of
fact,
the show.
Shannon, Shannon shouted out Brie, unbeknownst to Brie, saying if Brie were to watch this movie, she would have a Brie paradox every 10 seconds.
Yes.
Literally.
For listeners, the
So-
Brie paradox is our friend of the show, Brie Warson. It's the moment when she looks up from her Kindle while our friend of the show, Andy, is watching the movie and is like, that could never happen, or just like takes her out of it.
Yeah, that's totally ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, the
So-
face-off would just be the Brie paradox constantly.
Yeah. And a couple like highlights of the movie, maybe like the singular highlight for me with Shannon specifically was during the boat chase. Something pretty dramatic happens with the boat, and she just says, kind of like unprompted, and the boat just survives, which was just like a perfect.
I'm glad she was worried about the
response.
boats holding up after the boat
Like
chase.
almost she respond like obviously this wasn't true. She made other comments, but the way she responded to that particular thing was almost like up until that point, everything was believable.
Yes, yes. Everything was believable until the right end when it was like, how did that boat not blow up?
Yeah. So
I'm glad she was so in on the movie that it took her all the way to the end, where that was the only thing that took her out of it.
Yeah, and she
appreciate
did
it.
provide. I won't share it now. I'll wait until later. But she did provide a rating.
Oh, okay.
So we can have a fourth rating at the end from Shannon.
Sweet.
But her general overall thoughts, her OTs from it
Yes.
were more plot, less fighting. However, I was thoroughly entertained.
That is beautiful, and I think that sums up what this movie is all about. That's been Watch This Movie with my partner Check-In. Thank you, Mike, and thank you, Shannon. All right, we're moving on to Back of the VHS. This is part of the show where we looked at the back of the VHS and learned more about the movie and the plot. Just to shout out this VHS cover. Oh my gosh, it's got to be one of the best ever. I remember being in the video store. Face Off always stood out to me. Anytime you were walking down the aisle, even if you didn't rent it, it was just like you would look at it and it was Face Off. For folks who haven't seen it, it is basically our two leads' faces black. They're lit up, cut in half, and then it says Face Off. Now, this is breaking news. Right before we recorded, Mike Wynne let us know that there's something else on this VHS cover. Mike, can you explain?
Yeah, so I mean, I watched this on Amazon Prime Video. Shout out to potential future sponsor. The
Jeff Bezos, huge fan of Face Off.
huge fan of Face Off, and probably a customer of the Walsh Institute, but that's neither here nor there. Actually, that's entirely here. That is entirely.
He's got so many peaches to pay it. That makes sense.
But so I noticed, I just hadn't looked at the movie cover in a long time, and I just noticed that in the center of the poster, if you will, there appeared to be a third eye, like like almost like each character's second eye in that black area was, you know, that their faces were fused together at that point.
Yeah, like a crossfade. So when you
Yeah.
take two images and you crossfade them,
Yeah, so it just kind of looked
almost like a
there was
Venn diagram of Cage and Travolta.
Yeah, there's like a third eye there, and when I didn't really think much of it other than like, oh, it's there. But then when I pulled up right before we started recording here, I noticed on IMDb that eye wasn't on the poster that IMDb had, and so I shared that with Luke and Zach here. I shared it with you guys, and you guys didn't believe me until I showed you what Amazon Prime had, and you guys were a little bit surprised.
Yeah, I did not believe you because I'm looking at the VHS cover and I just did not see it. And then I think when you brought it up on Amazon and you enlarged it, it's like when you click in through the thumbnail, you don't see it in the thumbnail. When you
Enhanced.
click through and it's
Yeah.
enhanced, enhance, and it's at that wide shot, you can see it clearly. But I didn't believe you, Mike. I did not believe that there was a third eye.
Yeah, it's
I
weird
really thought it
because
was a
I
brain.
see some of these posters And honestly, right now, I don't know whether I'd call it an eye or not, but it is certainly in the location where I would expect an eye
It is.
to be.
You can. It's kind of fuzzy. But yeah, we obviously didn't see it, Mike, and you
Yeah.
can almost call us.
Third eye blind.
Thank you. Thank you.
Doot, doot, doot.
Doot, 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 doot. Speaking of semi.
You want to take that one back, bud? Did that clean?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Never mind. I was doing to make a joke.
Okay.
Mike, do you want to read the back of the VHS description? Speaking of
Semisonic.
Semisonic. A semi-charm kind of life.
yes, that's what I was trying to do. I'm just gonna have Zach say that.
You want me to say it?
Yeah.
Speaking of a semi-charm kind of life, could you read the back of the VHS for us, Mike?
I'm keeping this all in.
Jesus.
I'm
I'd
keeping
love
this
to. I
all
like
in.
this segment because this is listen to Mike poorly read the back of VHS because I always read these cold. But anyway, here we go. FBI agent Sean Archer, John Travolta, knows how to stop elusive terrorist Castor Troy, Nicolas Cage. He'll become him. Archer undergoes a futuristic surgery and has Troy's face mapped onto his, then infiltrates the terrorist world to discover his deadly secrets. But as much as Archer looks and acts like Troy, he doesn't really know him. He never figures Troy will retaliate and force doctors to transform him into Archer. Now the agent faces a shattering nightmare. His arch rival is living with his family. The Travolta Cage star power comes on strong, and so does the excitement in this roaring thrill machine of a movie directed by John Woo! So buckle up. It's going to be a furious fight.
This is an incredible back of the VHS. Thank you, Mike, for reading that. That's the movie. That's why I love this movie, because this description. If you brought this into studio executive in the '90s, they'd be like, "Let's go." Like, this is the movie. I absolutely loved this description because you get what you read. There's no tricks. It is this and then even more beyond it. So good.
I mean, yeah, that's the perfect thing about the 90s too, is you just sell the plot on the back and then people are going to watch it. It does not dress it up. There are no like metaphors in here. There is no like alluding to something. It's very on the nose and just see what happens. Like, literally buckle up. I love that so much. That's so great.
It is, of course, written and directed by John Woo. Written by Mark Werb, who wrote The Mask. That's real. He wrote The Mask. The writer of The Mask wrote this movie. And Michael Collery. Music by John Powell, who went on to do the Bourne series. So that's a nice connection. I think this score is underrated. I actually really like this score. It is starring, of course, John Travolta as Sean Archer, Nick Cage as Castor Troy, Joan Allen as Eve Archer, Alessandro Nivola as Pollux Troy, Gina Gershon as Sasha Hassler, and Margaret Cho as Wanda. Just there.
Just wow. She gets one joke in this movie, by the way, and it's so bad.
It's bad,
not good.
but she doesn't die. Out of all the FBI agents, she makes it through. So we got to give her that.
That's true. That is true. Good for her. She's clearly a skill.
All right, let's move on to facts that you can fact check. I'm not going to do the work for you. Face Off was released on June 27th, 1997. That weekend, friends, if you were in the theater in June of 1997, you could have seen The Lost World, Jurassic Park, Con Air, Batman and Robin, My Best Friend's Wedding, in Speed 2. Bring me back.
That's such
Dude, that was
Next time someone asks, like, if you could, live at any time, anywhere, or take a time machine anywhere, I'm going to say, I want to be living in a suburban movie theater complex in June of 1997. That is just beautiful. What a list.
That's literally everything I watched this summer just to feel like I was young again.
The budget for this movie was $80 million. Domestically made $112 million, and worldwide $245 million. All right, I want to talk about these two lead actors. They are both on interesting runs leading up to Face Off. Nick Cage, holy cow. This run he has from 95 to 97 is incredible. So October of 95, Leaving Las Vegas comes out. Later on in 1996, he wins the Oscar for Best Actor. Then in 96, June of 96, The Rock. And then in June of 97, he has both Con Air and Face Off. What a run.
And that's the thing is, like, that is exactly what sets him up for, like, propels him into today. Like, he's those 4 movies, he's riding on that clout for 25, 30 years after that. It's incredible.
He would have had before he wins Best Actor for Leaving Las Vegas, he would have had all but Face Off like attached to him already, right? Like Face Off probably didn't get attached to him until later on because he wouldn't have been attached to 2 movies in 1997. But
that's a good question. I'm not sure. I mean, they could have happened, but it would have been quick to move those around. We'll talk about it later. There was a lot of people attached to this movie, specifically a lot of pairs, I should say. But it is just an extraordinary run. Now, let's contrast that with Travolta. As it's been talked about a lot, Pulp Fiction comes out in 94, kind of a resurgence of Travolta. Tarantino brings him kind of out of this dead period where he made a lot of poor choices in his career and was kind of getting out of Scientology or whatnot. Different podcasts. Maybe still in different podcasts. So that's 94, Pulp Fiction. He's back on the scene. Get Shorty, 95. Broken Arrow and Michael, 96. Broken Arrow directed by John Woo. And then Woo brings him back for Face Off. So a resurgence of Travolta and just explosion of Cage's career. So both these guys are probably at the top of their games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is like Travolta's dad era. Really,
yeah, it's
right?
his dad era, and he like in Broken Arrow he plays a bad guy, so it's different for him. It's not his heartthrob era, but it's his dad era, and then this is Cage being the top billing, top movie star in the late 90s, moving on to kind of early 2000s. Nicolas Cage, man, if I could be anywhere, I'd be a fly in this wall. Nicolas Cage and John Travolta spent 2 weeks together before filming to learn how to play each other. They decided on specific gestures and vocal cadences for each character that could be mimicked. Can you imagine, Zach, can you imagine what that experience would be like working together for 2 weeks? Like, where are they meeting? Are they at each other's houses or what's going on?
Oh, it's a motel room in a desert. They lock the door for 2 weeks and it's 2 twin beds. They sit on the twin beds and just stare at each other and try and play a mimicking exercise. It's had to have been just like a mimicking mirror game for like 2 weeks, I think. And then maybe some notes on the side. Like they just turn around really quick and take a note or two and then go back to it.
Yeah. I like that. I like that thing you do with your eyes. That's cool. And the way you just kind of pout a little bit. That's pretty sweet too. Yeah. And Can you just hold your hand to your brow like that a little longer so I can get the study right? Yeah, perfect. Yeah, perfect.
All right, perfect. Oh, I just
baby.
I did. Yeah, all right. That's totally fine. It's good.
All right, Nikki.
All right, Nikki. Let's get a burger. Originally, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sly Stallone were meant to play the lead roles, which I am glad this movie didn't happen because this really would have been a WWE match. The puns would have been insane. And I know they went on to collaborate in future movies, but it would have been a totally different movie. And those actors, I don't think could have done it. I can't even imagine Schwarzenegger trying to do a Stallone.
Mm-hmm. You need to bring I don't think the acting styles can match the directing style. There would definitely be amazing action, and I don't think it would. I think there would have been some issues with John Woo on set, more issues than sometimes John Woo's had on set.
Yes.
And I don't think it would have gelled. They probably would have canceled it, or it would have come out and we probably would have never heard of it. So I think I'm glad they moved on from that idea.
I am too. The other pairs that were tested was Michael Douglas and Harrison Ford. Apparently, Michael Douglas executive produced this movie, which would be interesting. I think they're a little bit past their maybe prime to do this, but Bruce Willis and Alec Baldwin, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and Steven Seagal. Again, a very different movie. That's a WWE Face Off. I would like to see them in a movie, but that would have been a plagued set. Van Damme worked with John Woo in a previous film, but Seagal I don't think would have liked or had the acting chops. And then the last one was Denzel and Wesley Snipes, which would have been. I think that would have been good. Yeah. Wesley, I don't know if could have handled the acting level, but it could have been done. And then one more is Robert De Niro and Al Pacino, which was thrown. I mean, that was thrown around. I mean, those two people were trying to get them in movies, and then Michael Mann finally did it in Heat, and that was a much better movie. So I'm glad we got who we got. I think it was the perfect pairing to make this movie. John Woo let Nick Cassavetes write a lot of his own lines for the movie. That was the character. That was the bald brother, his friend, which makes sense because that's just one of the most erratic characters in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then before shooting emotional scenes, John Woo played soft, sad music to help the actors get into character. John Travolta said he didn't need it. He nailed the scene in one take, earning him the nickname One Take John.
Can we just get this done with, please? Can we just get this over with?
I just gotta get this done with.
Was it Somewhere Over the Rainbow, the soft sad music?
It must have been. Oh, my goodness. All right, friends. We're bringing back a segment that if you're fans of our rewatch series from Mission Impossible, a very important trope of the Wooverse, it's Dove Watch. I don't know. I was making a dove noise. This movie has doves in it. It not only has doves, it has doves, pigeons, doves, pigeons, and seagulls. All three in one scene. We're jumping ahead here, but the finale scene at the church on the beach. Zach.
It's the evolution of the bird, essentially. That's what that scene's about. Yes, can confirm. I was at first disappointed because I didn't think until the last 25 minutes of this movie that we would get a bird.
I didn't either. I was like, we weren't going to get any type of bird action in this movie.
I paused. There's one spot in the prison scene where there's a bird on the screen, and I paused it. I said, "You're not a dove. You're not a dove. What is this?" But then we get
bird action. That's a different podcast.
Yeah, bird action. That's the
bird
spin-off.
action. Some dove action is more like it because we get it later in the movie. Dove Watch can confirm doves. What I did a count.
This is true work. This is God's work.
So this is tough. We're in the upwards of 45, maybe above 45, maybe
unique
reaching
doves?
into 50. If you don't, it just a dove that appears on screen, period.
Okay.
So that
count.
But from what I can tell, it looks like the dove wranglers were able to bring in 12 doves that are consistently in about 20 shots in that funeral scene.
Incredible.
So it kind of changes between 9 to 12 in some shots. Some obviously are kind of walking out of scene. And also I think they scooped up 2 or 3 of them in each shot. I call it the Cloudy with a Chance of Doves shot, where they just fall from the ceiling.
Yes.
And then flap, but
they're
aren't really
you could tell someone offset just threw them and they hit. It was like rolling throw.
Exactly. Yeah, can confirm 12, which is very big. This is bigger than Mission Impossible, guys. I do have to say. Mission Impossible 2, excuse me.
The bigger,
you heard it here first. Holy
yes.
cow.
Exactly. This is serious. This is a study that I will be continuing for other movies.
Zach, do you think because this movie precedes Mission Impossible 2, do you think that John Woo, based on his experience in Face Off,
don't say it.
It felt like the number of doves that was too big of an operation and that he needed to pare down the amount of doves that he had in Mission Impossible 2?
I personally don't believe that is a John Woo choice. As a Woo girl myself, I don't think I can say that. Also, if you want to be a part of this club, the Woo Girl Club, you are welcome to.
Yes.
I will convince you by the end of this episode to join. I think this was a studio decision for Mission Impossible 2.
Like a budget thing?
I think it was a budget thing, and also probably someone with a little bit of a phobia against white, majestic flying creatures.
Are we pointing figures at Sean Ambrose? Or
Sean Ambrose is to blame. I really do. You think Wu has that? I guess it's the '90s, so he probably had it on speed dial. He had the Dove Wrangler on speed dial because.
does he have
Man.
other movies? Do we need to do a John Woo?
Okay, I knew Dove Watch was coming, so I did some work.
So it was like he wrote the script.
I didn't watch both these movies all the way through, but I did take a peek at Hard Target and Hard Boiled, both John Woo movies, both on Tubi. Hard Target, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme. There is a dove. So far, this is, I think, a third of the way through the movie. There's a dove that is not only in the movie, the dove interacts with Jean-Claude Van Damme's character and helps him figure out a clue in the mystery of this disappearing character. The dove points at the clue, and he, I wouldn't say nods, but he thanks the dove in the scene. It is one of the most crazy moments I've ever seen in movies. As members of Dove Watch, to see that happening in an earlier John Woo movie, it's the origins. I don't know if it's the origins. I'm going to have to do some study into that Hong Kong cinema era of John Woo films. But to me, that Hard Target Dove appearance is showing signs of what's to come. But it's the one that there's a lot of interaction. So it is a John Woo trope to the max, and I love him for it.
Yeah, I do have two theories of what that is, if you don't mind me.
Yeah.
Yeah, go.
Yes.
It's either it is a higher power somehow affecting the plot.
Yes.
Through the power of Dove, or it is the ghost of Chow Yun-fat from all the movies that John Woo did in Hong Kong, making a cameo.
Yes.
Or just polymorphing into a dove or multiple doves so that he can be at least a part of the American, all of the American movies.
And the doves are always an ally. There seems to be, it's even if like Hard Target, it's interacting with the plot. Mission Impossible definitely interacting. This movie more of an aesthetic, but they definitely are on the side of justice.
They're delivering it.
The doves are delivering justice, and that's what these movies are all about.
So
Dove Watch.
I'm doing a little bit of research in the background here. So you're a
stats boy. Mike's our stats boy in the background.
Follow me on this, okay?
We're already in it. Let's go.
So
give it to me.
There's a 1974 movie titled The Dove, and
is that about a boat?
Apparently, John Woo was very close to directing The Dove, which is a gentle coming-of-age sailing drama.
Yes. My grandparents had this movie.
When he found out that
VHS.
it wasn't about a gun-wielding bird seeking revenge,
this
he
is a lie. This is a bet.
released
I'm not falling for this. I'm not falling for
into
this.
the producer's office.
This is
and
a lie.
vanished in a cloud of slow motion
this is
feathers.
A lie. Yeah.
Later claiming, I thought it was the dove, not a dove.
Fake news. You're not fooling us again, Mike. You're not fooling us again.
I'm also trying to look.
GPT.
You got us last time.
Yeah.
Listeners, Mike has done this to us before.
I'm also trying to look at the speedboats, the sides of the speedboats at the end of the movie to maybe explain why one of the speedboats did live and see if it was maybe like SS Dub or something like that.
Yes, maybe something like that. Yeah, or Dove was on the boat. Please report back. All right, friends, we could talk about doves for hours. You know us. But we have to move on to OT's overall thoughts. Friends, I have a couple things to talk about. One, we have the MI connections. There's some real connecting points between this movie and Mission Impossible 2. They would work as a double feature. We have, of course, like the mask trope, the face trope. It's obvious, like, oh, yeah, this guy who made this movie should direct a Mission Impossible movie. I think looking back, it makes a lot of sense. We have slow-mo. We have the mano via mano, man versus man, and the sand fight. All connections, all similarities to Mission Impossible, including the doves. There's so many connections, and it's really fun to see as a movie fan, but also fans of both these movies. It's fun to see a director have an earlier piece that influences the next piece.
Yeah, I couldn't separate these two movies from my mind as I was watching them. It was blatantly obvious that John Woo just fell in love with certain ideas in
Yes.
Face Off, and when he had an opportunity to do them in Mission Impossible, he's like, "We've done this before."
Yes.
I see it as kind of like that falling in love with certain ideas for sure. I think he sees action as a certain type of poetry. And I think he
Yes.
tries to visualize that with certain um themes and certain scenarios that he likes to see in those things to make because it is as a poet himself, hard take.
No.
You have to have you write in a certain style as a poet. You even if you read your poetry, it's in a certain voice. I think this is just a poet doing amazing work at the height of his career.
Yeah, I
Um
really prefer my reductionist point of view rather than your humanitarian point of view.
Well, I think it's they're both, right? Because I watching
Yeah.
Hard Boiled, which was a Hong Kong film, really in this peak of this era of Hong Kong action cinema that influenced the genre for over a decade. All the movies, 90s action movies we love, can really trace back to what was happening in Hong Kong in the 80s. And watching Hard Boiled, I was like, oh, this is a John Woo movie. Like all of his poetry or his tools, whatever you want to say, are here, and he just applies them in different ways, different stories. But that formula, I think, works really well, and it makes these movies enjoyable. The thing that I appreciated about watching Face Off again, I hadn't seen it all the way through in a long time, maybe ever. I think this was just one of those movies that was on TNT, on TBS that I watched. So I don't really remember sitting down and watching it all the way through. Is that we just do not see movies like this anymore where the style and creativity are unleashed. Like the actors, the stunts, the music, everything is just style and creativity unleashed. They're not trying to connect this to a wider world. They're not trying to build a franchise. They have a really great plot, a great action plot, really fun actors that are making incredible choices, and it's just all out creativity. And I think it's hard right now. We are living in a world where a lot of times creativity is tampered down, or because of AI, because of tools, because of the way the business works, we get the watered down, or we get the safest choice. If you watch an Amazon TV show, you know exactly what I'm saying. It's just every 5 minutes, they just pump in the most popular song without earning any of the credit. I was watching The Summer I Turned Pretty, and if you like that show, you watch that. That's great. I was watching it with my wife, and they took a Sufjan Stevens song from the film Call Me By Your Name. The film, it was an Oscar-winning song that was used in Call Me By Your Name. I don't know how it works business-wise, but they just injected it into a scene without them earning it. And I know I'm going on a tangent here, but we're seeing so much just generic without any of the creativity and style. And there's risk involved. I think there's a lot of risk involved. Like this movie could have not done well, but they went for it. And I really appreciated watching them just unleash this creativity.
This is what almost like 7 years of we'll credit from 85 up to this point, like years and years of like creating the action genre and like actually sharpening it. I feel like this is the peak of this. This is the top of an Everest for us. Like that is the thing. And understanding that like plot in this time doesn't matter as much as the action and what
Right.
we can feast with our eyes. And I think that's a big thing for this. And understand kind of like where you're coming from with it, Luke. I totally get it because it is something without shackles. It does not want to weigh itself down in
No.
any way, shape, or form. And I think that it takes it up to another level. And the next time we see this with another director is like a Michael Bay. It becomes a Michael Bay film eventually. Like this is what this
Right.
evolves into. But this is like the peak of that right now. And you're talking about like 97 is a crazy time, I think, for defining this genre. And then we kind of corrupt it later after.
And
after
it changes,
this,
right?
so.
The Matrix comes 2 years later, and it totally shifts everything. So
Exactly.
it really is the end of this glory period of action movies that happened in the late 80s into the 90s. This is really the culmination of a lot of those ideas. It's just fun to see. It's fun to watch, and just it's just unlike anything you can get today. I just don't know if you can replicate this. The time, the place, the actors, the director, it's so unique in that way.
And that's the thing, is like, it's unique, and it to me it sells. I don't think you could make this movie today because people would it would break a wall for people. Like, it just wouldn't seem genuine and authentic. Other people might disagree, but I feel like the acting is genuine and authentic for this movie. And it matches somehow in a perfect way. And this is probably the director synthesizing his vision. And this witch's brew of a movie of like, how does this all come together really well? I couldn't tell you, because it was just made by someone who was mastering the craft at this point. So yeah, this is why I like it, and why it can't be made again, honestly, because you can't do that again, like, with anybody else.
No, we've talked about it before. It's like trying to remake Point Break. They tried it, and it's like, you can't do it. You can't do it. You can't get a Busey at that point. You can't get a Reeves. You can't get Swayze. It's just so difficult to replicate these movies. And I'm saying that because Zach, if you're watching, or for those watching YouTube, Zach is wearing a Utah Gimme 2 t-shirt. So it's just one of those movies that I adore and love, and it reminded me of this special era and why it remains unique. And it might not be everyone's cup of tea, but it sure as hell is entertaining. All right, before we move on to Leasties and Besties, I want to throw this out here. Is this the most memeable movie of all time? This movie is just, there's cage memes everywhere.
It's pretty up there. I mean, I have never seen this movie like all the way through. I've seen bits of it, but not coherently and not at one time. The number of like scenes that I recognize because of the what's the word, Luke?
Meme?
The meme, but the
zeitgeist.
Zeitgeist. Yeah, there we go. There's your word of the day.
There's the big word.
Because of the zeitgeist, it's almost like I felt like I seen more of the movie, you know?
Right. Yeah, like, ooh, ain't you good looking? Like that's like, everyone knows that. Obviously the Nick Cage faces are recognizable. I bet so many people use those GIFs without knowing where it's from.
Yeah, or even knowing that they're from the same movie.
Yes.
Like the a priest scene in the beginning versus like the face off. I love to send the face off over that overhead scene to people. They don't make sense in the same. It barely kind of even looks the same.
Yeah, you wouldn't even expect to be from the same movie, but they are.
Yeah, exactly.
It's incredible. And I think it goes to that timelessness. Maybe not timelessness. It's that why this movie continues to be celebrated and rewatchable and stands out over time is because it's so unique. It's just so different than anything you could really have ever seen. And these are the movies, and sometimes movies stand out long term because the stories and the aesthetic are timeless, and some stand out because they're just so unique, fun, and entertaining, and this is one of those movies. All right, friends, let's move on to Leasties and Besties. Okay, we're going to start out with Leasties. Least cringy moment out of all the cringy moments, and there's a few. There's a few cringy moments. We are talking about how this movie has stood the test of time in a lot of ways, but some ways, not so much. The stewardess / FBI agent tongue sucking. The brother kissing his sister, which was a choice.
Oh my gosh,
I was literally like,
again.
what? Wait, what? How? Why? That was a choice. That must have been Cassavetes' choice too.
That was, I think, Cassavetes' choice. I think he was given a little too much creative freedom. We're talking about creativity unleashed. When you give creativity full bore without any guardrails, sometimes you're gonna get a brother kissing a sister, the licking a face of the daughter, that Troy is Archer checking out the daughter, the slapping and grabbing of butts throughout the movie. That does not age well. That's pretty cringy. And I would say you could argue this the face touching.
How is this even? No. This last one, this face touching, this doesn't belong in this category because this is arguably the most cringy thing about the movie.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. I dared protest. That is, yeah. So
I doth
I
protest.
doth. I dare
doth
doth.
and dare.
I dare to doth.
So, should we hash this out? Is this okay to? Is this the space
let's
to
let's
do
hash
this?
out the face
Sure.
touching.
Where else?
So this is, since watching this the first time, I've called this the waterfall. I do this to my dog. Like often. It's like,
And that
so
makes me feel better about it. Thanks.
yeah,
Mike.
so the
Okay,
waterfall
okay.
touch. So I actually find this like an endearing thing in the movie, because it's like, so this movie is about a tale of two families, essentially, right?
Yes.
So this is like something that they do in their family. It is like it's a way of communicating endearment. I also think of it as the ultimate conflict resolution. So it's like it's like something more than just like a word can do. It has its own flavor. It has like when they do it, it's like it can be used as "I'm sorry" or
I see you.
I see you, or I love you. So like it's this gesture on one. And on the other hand, that's how Castor and Pollux talk, is by tying tying Pollux' shoe. So like they have like both families have this thing. But I really feel like the waterfall effect is something that actually, as weird as it is, I don't think it's the cringiest thing.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. The like everything you said might have been true, but it doesn't take away from the fact that it's still really weird.
It's kind of
Like-
it's kind of like the totem for, I guess, for the audience. It's like how we know that it's Sean Archer, right? Because Sean's doing that.
Yeah, but
how-
here's the thing, Luke. Okay, so here's my
It's a totem.
issue.
It's like Inception, which we just talked about, Mike.
And that's true, and that's fine. But the issue I have with it is it's so forced because the movie was called Face Off.
Yes.
So there's this touching of the face. So if it were something else, like if it were some
handshake.
so not even a handshake, but like some other way of showing affection that was
Just
be
like-
more like normally like just more normal amongst couples. Like I've never seen a couple.
Not just couple though. This is a family affair.
You know what? I think Zach's convinced me, because I think the Archer family is a little
No.
weird.
Yeah,
No,
and this,
well,
you have
yeah,
to find.
but that still makes it cringy. Because the
okay.
category is least cringy moment.
So, but this wins. I still think this is the least cringy out of everything. I don't know.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Because you can argue the most cringy stuff is the stuff that hasn't aged well. The licking of the face and that stuff is character work. I really think right at the end, and we'll get into it, but right at the end when Troy licks the daughter's face, it's the final nail in the coffin where we can say as an audience, okay, we want him to die. Like, we want Archer to win. It's rough.
I would do whatever you want, but I'm on the record as saying that this is among the most cringy things.
Okay.
Okay.
Besides that, what is probably the least one besides that?
The least cringy?
Let me.
I mean, probably the slapping and grabbing of butts. Like what's? I mean, it's
the
weird,
90s.
but it's like not cringy necessarily. Like
It's the 90s.
I-
Okay.
I would agree. Like I think the slapping, the obsession with butts, and the way that the camera likes to just take a quick look at it. Like it
Yes.
is cringy. It's cringy, but it's
Out of all
normalized,
the
I
cringy
think.
stuff.
Yeah. We have to take the waterfall gesture off the table. I agree, but like I see you two on that. It could be looked at as cringy. For me, it's endearing.
Beautiful. Least probable things. So this is the least probable thing. Apparently, we should add this to Shannon's. The boat survives is on here.
Yeah.
The Magnet Field Prison. That one was a little bit of a goofy one to me. So the prison is magnetized.
Yep.
And
But
they
they have
wear
guns.
magnet boots. Well, wouldn't other stuff, like I was thinking, shouldn't it be like Magneto's prison? Shouldn't it be all plastic? No. Shouldn't everything else be plastic, like the guns, and
right.
wouldn't everything be attaching itself to the? We don't have to get
Exactly.
into. That's too much science for this movie. I think the face
Well,
swaps.
this is a science fiction movie, so
It is. We don't have to explain the science. The face
No,
swap
we don't.
surgery, I guess, would be the least probable.
I disagree.
Castor Troy as Sean Archer getting away with the raids and like getting away with just being Sean Archer. I just feel like he was, and I guess the problem is I'm kind of contradicting myself because the boss does say, "Hey, we're shutting you down," but it's pretty amazing that he survived that long. The prison escape, just surviving that jump, and then the last one is the bullet to hit ratio. Side note: a lot of expendable FBI agents just killed, but there's a lot of bullets in this movie.
A libertarian made this movie.
Yes, there is a lot of firearms being fired.
I'm surprised the camera didn't get hit, honestly. The
It
amount of
is.
times that
I know.
So did you know Cage did that prison? He jumped that prison escape on his own. Like he did that
Well,
one.
I was thinking when I was watching it, there's some moments where you can see the stunt performers, but that one when you see him slow motion in the air, I was like, that's Nick Cage.
That was him. Yeah.
And he
For
would
sure was.
also do another jump in National Treasure off the carrier.
Okay.
Oh no, his big stunt in National Treasure was stealing the Declaration of Independence. That was a practical stunt.
It's practical.
So, that entire journey was
Okay,
Yeah, it
what's
was
the
a documentary.
Yes, it was. What's least probable, do you guys think, out of all these things?
I feel like the least probable is the prison escape. Because there's still not a real good explanation for why the helicopter didn't find Nick Cage in the water and shoot him.
Yeah. It's a forgivable one for me, but yeah, he probably couldn't have.
Yeah. I do want to, I kind of agree with the face swap thing because I did note that like in order to have this doctor has to have a doctorate, but also the amount of work he has to have this doctor had to have a cosmetology degree
Right.
and also have a massage certificate for the face massaging they did
Yes.
to just get it in there. That doesn't seem probable.
Yeah, there's no way. That's not possible. Someone can't do all of that.
Yeah,
That's a triple threat. That's
what
a
if he had a
triple
team
threat.
though? Like think about it. Like yeah, maybe improbable for one man, but like
If he had a
would it
team,
be
yeah,
improbable
have
for
the
a
masseuse
whole
on
office?
staff. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
that's true. The Walsh Institute.
And he
you're
could
right,
write a
it could.
referral, for the massaging.
Well, this will be. I think it's possible now because
Quick
it's
as
the
reply.
Walsh Institute powered by Amazon. So that's how we get it done. That's how they get it done. All right. Least likable character: Castor Troy or Sean Archer. Both these characters, I do have to say, have their good moments and their bad moments. But I want to throw this out there because, and maybe we can talk about this later. But Sean Archer is a dick since the start of this movie, really. Like he is a jerk to his family. He's a jerk to his coworkers. He's not thinking clearly. And even through the process when he becomes Castor Troy, he seems unhinged. And it's not till the final third of the movie where he starts to actually turn. Like I'm halfway through this movie, I was like, I think Sean Archer is the least likable. Like I was kind of rooting for Castor Troy because it was at least like it was more entertaining. But it didn't. It switches at the end.
He kind of had to walk in Castor's shoes to just chill out.
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Take some drugs.
I think Castor's the least likable, and not just because he's the antagonist necessarily, but it has to do with the first scene of the movie where he sexually assaults a minor.
Oh yes.
I assume that choir.
Oh,
is
the
a
choir
children's
girl.
choir.
Yes.
Yeah. He's definitely.
You got me there, Mike. I think it's really interesting though. Go ahead, Zach.
But he has that in the very first scene though. He has that mustache, guys.
That's
and
true.
he does that
that
really
mustache.
weird
That's
dance.
such a likable
He
look.
does
for
the
him.
Megan dance.
It's
He does do the
incredible.
Megan
He does do the Megan dance. They copied it straight. Megan copied Nick Cage in Face Off. You heard it here first. His looks in this movie, Nick Cage's looks. I mean, you have the mustache, you have the priest, you have when he's getting onto the plane, he's just his shirt and the gold. It's incredible.
He's a man of God though in the beginning of this movie, so
That's
that
right.
kind of brings his likability up a little bit.
It does.
What if I
it's
came to this with like a full dossier of how I would defend Castor Troy as like
If you're his
not the
lawyer.
villain, but the main character, the
Yes,
protagonist of this film.
yes.
That would be great.
It is fun to see these characters do need each other in a way. There is that yin and yang where you mentioned, Zach, where Sean Archer needed to be Castor Troy to just chill out and also see how he wasn't the only one affected by Castor Troy. I think that was a big aha moment for me in the movie is we find out, spoiler alert, that Castor Troy has a son that he didn't know about. And it's this idea that Sean Archer was almost being selfish because he was consumed with getting revenge on this one person, without seeing the bigger picture that Castor Troy and his behavior affected so many other people, and that it was important to serve other people that they're being hurt by him and see that bigger picture. And I think I don't know if Castor Troy understood the burden of what he had done, but these characters definitely needed each other in different ways, and I think it's interesting.
That kid's he's gonna have a lot of issues growing up. Like
That kid needs some therapy. The therapy bills are going to be
Adam,
up the wazoo, but I'm hoping the best for him. All right, let's move on to besties. This is a fun one. Best cageism. Now, there's a compilation on YouTube that I found that says it is titled "Every Time Nick Cage Goes Completely Insane in Face Off." I will try to embed some of the audio in here for the listeners, and on YouTube, hopefully it doesn't get taken down. But it is one of my favorite compilations that you can find on YouTube. It is just amazing to watch Nick Cage in this movie because he's both simultaneously an outrageous and impressive performance and actor. And it just really sums up, I think, his career and unpredictability in his roles at various standards and styles. In this movie, it just encapsulates all that thing that I think what makes a lot of people love Nick Cage. I don't know what you guys think about just his performance as a whole.
what do you think, Mike?
I loved it. I actually, I mean, I had a difficult time. I don't know what the right way to describe it is, but like, I don't know. I just thought it was like so different than like how I've seen Nick Cage.
Yeah, it's very different than I would say his most, maybe for millennials, a lot of his widely known role is National Treasure, is Gone in 60 Seconds, where he's playing the same character in both those movies. When I think about early 2000s Nick Cage. Ghost Rider, and even Ghost Rider. Well, Ghost Rider, he's, speaking of Face Off, Ghost Rider, he's also kind of playing this more down on his luck kind of dad character. Like he's a good guy that's just in a bad situation. Like that's a era of Cage.
Yeah.
And it's fun to see him totally different in this.
I don't know. I just really enjoyed how committed Nick Cage was as Castor Troy.
Yeah. There's so much there.
Yeah, he's really trying to be a bad guy in this. Because like the other previous movies, he's always been kind of like the guy with this little bit of a southern drawl who like is a little bit more passive. Like I'm thinking of even Con Air.
Con Air, he's like, a good guy.
reserved,
I mean, he's a convict, but he served and he's trying to get back to his family.
Yeah. The Rock, kind of same thing.
Yeah, The Rock, it's really about his girlfriend and he's kind of
raising Arizona. Yeah. Like I think all those, this is the first time he gets to define what a villain means from his performance. I think that's pretty important.
Yeah, it's
really
not down on his luck type of character. This is someone who is totally in control of his chaos and knows he's the man and wants to live his life, and whoever's in the way, he's going to take down no matter what. All right, let's talk about the Cageisms. We have the priest face when he grabs the butt of the choir girl. It's just all-time insane. Itching his face against the wall after surgery, which is really subtle but fun one, where it's just
really
my face itches. Screaming after the surgery, that's just all out. Smiling during the prison fight, saying, "I'm Castor Troy. I'm Castor Troy." I love that scene. I need a light. I need a light.
Yeah.
When he's crowd surfing away from the prison. Laughing and smiling in the mirror after the drug state face off at his penthouse. I mean, you have the face off when he's talking about he wants to take the face off, and then he goes like he's not feeling good because of the overdose, and he goes into the bathroom, and that's when we get the smile and the bulging eyes.
You want to take his face?
Yes. His face.
When he comes home and confronts his wife, he says home. I love that bit. He just says home. And then when he's talking to his wife, revealing all this, he just cranks it to 11 and goes, Castor's face!
Castor's face! But not before transforming into me.
I already mentioned it in the cold open. Die! And then that happens both times, and then the song, I'm ready for the big ride, baby.
I'm ready for the big ride, baby.
And then just his bulging eyes to begin with. That's a lot of cageisms. So do you guys have a favorite?
Yeah, for me, it's the bulging eyes.
Yeah.
They're like daggers, right?
Yeah.
Like he can create a weapon out of those eyes sometimes.
And it reminds me of it's actually not from this movie, it's from a different movie, but it reminds me of the other Nick Cage meme, which is the "you don't say."
Yes.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. I do want to say itching his face against the wall is actually a new one that I think is kind of like that's like him experimenting in a scene, and I love that a lot.
It's so
that's a
subtle,
personal
but
fave.
it was just like, yeah, your face would itch. Like it kind of
It's
it takes you
fused.
out of it a little bit, but it's like, okay, yeah, your face would itch. And he just was like, no, I'm going against the wall.
Just falling forward into a concrete wall and trying to like baloo it in
Do you think
Jungle
like
Book against
do you think
yeah.
he like that wasn't acting, that was like Nick Cage, like his face just actually itched and
Maybe.
John
Yeah, mosquito
Williams
bite.
it in.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That seems like it was. That was the most Nick Cage part of the movie.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
I agreed.
All right, bulging eyes it is. Okay, on to best woo trope. We've already talked a lot about them. Sideways jump shooting. That's a big one. Slow-mo just in general. Sparks. Sparks budget for this movie. Huge. Sparks everywhere.
Did anybody catch the pixelated sparks in the hangar scene by chance? That was a new spark. They invented new sparks for this movie.
Incredible.
Invented new sparks.
There were sparks everywhere. I thought Nicholas was there.
Dude. You took me a second.
You'll get that one on the way home.
I thought
I hate
was at
that
a
so much.
WNBA game in Los Angeles.
Okay. There you go. Try to think of another Sparks joke. Okay. Bombs with timers, a big woo trope. We think it's an action trope, but it's a big woo trope.
But 28 days? 26-day timer.
That's the longest timer I think
timer?
ever
Look,
in a
you
movie.
need time to get away.
It is insane. I guess it's they're setting it because they're trying to kill UN people that are going to be
3
speaking
Supreme
there.
Court judges.
Oh, that's right.
Because it's happening in the National Bar Association's there.
There we go. The national.
Yeah.
It seems a bit early, but we'll give it.
But they don't diffuse it. They don't find it until 1:30 left, and they don't diffuse it until 2 seconds left.
I love that he messes up the code.
Yeah.
It's such a subtle thing. It just adds to that Castor Troy flair of just like, oh yeah, he forgot the code, which I appreciate.
What I find interesting about that, actually, we should have put this in the least probable category, was like the like immediately, like he should have, how do I explain this? Like if he wanted to be the hero for defusing the bomb, he should have like not been so obvious that like he knew the code. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah, but that's
get
why he
those
pushed
guys
the guys
out,
out of the way.
he
pushed
pushed
the bomb
the guys
squad.
out of the way. I understand, but now there's no witnesses for how he did it. And additionally, like I would have a lot of questions, like how come you were able to do this when our top people couldn't? Like you could
Right.
influence them to be like, oh, like what if we did this? Like you could play it off a little bit more cool. Whereas like as far as I'm concerned, like if I'm like a police officer, I'm going, I don't know about that one.
It's not subtle, which is true to Castor Troy's character.
True.
And that's why his boss starts sniffing around, probably a little too late, and then has
Way
that
too late.
a heart attack.
Or it was like the whole movie, he's just gearing up for that heart attack anyways,
I
like
know,
throughout it,
I
even
know.
with it when it was Travolta. So yeah.
It's so
I
good.
mean, you could argue that he had an inside like line on Pollux, and Pollux
that's
gave
kind of how
him
they
the
justify
code.
it. Is they got the
Yeah,
brother.
yeah.
but
Okay.
Yeah, they
still.
don't make it too
That's
yeah,
fair.
too
It's
obvious.
a fair
but-
out there.
Yeah.
Some
but
other woo tropes, massive squibs, of course. Squibs are the devices that essentially they're little charges that explode, and that's the blood when bullets hit in movies are called squibs. You don't see them very often these days. A lot of times they're done with CGI blood and kind of explosions, but both squibs that are showing gunshot wounds, but also squibs on the ground, squibs on devices. Anytime you see an explosion, that's a squib. Speaking of woo tropes, just fiery explosions, just a lot of fire. Stunt pulls. So this would be if, like I'm talking about, if someone gets shot by an Uzi, when they get hit, they fly. That's like a stunt pull. So they're getting pulled. Typically,
There was actually a scene I noticed. I'm trying to remember exactly where it was, but there was a scene where you can actually see the wire.
Oh,
All
really?
this-
Oh,
Did you
really?
see it? I mean,
It's, like,
I
very
wouldn't be
obvious.
surprised. There's so much wire work done in this movie. I mean, it's everywhere. Guys are flying everywhere.
I mean, it was so obvious. I remember thinking like that has to be a mistake.
Is it like when Cage gets blown away by the
I'll find
the airport or the aircraft turbine? I feel like that would
No, that was not
because
it.
there's a big scene. Okay, that was believable. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that was believable. That was
Good.
definitely believable.
Yeah, please tell me though. I'm interested.
More tropes. Two men pitted against each other. Zach, I think you added this one: flames that don't hurt. The ability
just
to
don't-
go
it's like
through
water.
flames. Yes, it's just water.
They just run through them, or like I think he's even burned at one, or like he caught fire at one point, and like I think he just
Totally
barely puts
fine.
it out.
Totally fine. We saw that a lot in Mission Impossible 2. Of course, Doves, we mentioned it. Data storage. Big fans of the data storage.
That floppy, man. That floppy.
Yes, we got one
Very
in.
important.
We got one
Yes.
in. And then pointed weapons. So harpoon. There's an arrow gun in Hard Target as well. So just like harpoon pointed weapons.
Was the arrow gun like the big villain killer in that, or like in
It's
this
just used in
movie
the
and
opening scene. It's actually
Okay,
used in the
okay.
opening scene. What's your favorite woo trope? I mean, there's so many. Besides Doves, we have to take Doves out of here.
Yeah,
It's
Doves off the
obviously our favorite.
table. I think Sparks for me. Like
Yeah.
though
Mm.
it's everywhere. It's like, hey, did we remember to bring the Sparks with us, guys? Like I feel like it's like the sparkler, like for like a budget had to be crazy. Like they just jump in their Sparks. There doesn't even have to be a bullet nearby.
I know. I'm rewatching that hangar scene right now. and
I mean, it
there's
is
just, everything.
The
is
hangar
Sparks.
scene is great. I mean, there's so many sparks. It's like being at American Idol season 6. Because the winner was Jordan Sparks.
That's so bad.
Oh God.
I agree, Zach. Rewatching this, I was reminded how so many different TV shows and movies took a lot of the woo stylings. I think about the CW DC shows. They took a lot of the woo action stuff because this is in the 2000s, like 2010s. So they're big budget TV shows, but not massive budget TV shows we know today. So they're using practical action like sparks, squibs to show that. I think about Arrow, The Flash, and tons of sparks in those shows. And it reminded me of like, oh yeah, John Woo really brought that to America and American action cinema.
Yeah, this really does go over the top with it, though. Other things later on would borrow from this, but take it back a lot. Again, I like the whole poetry thing. I feel like this is one of those pieces, one of those auteur like parts of what a John Woo movie does, and all of these are actually. So it wouldn't be the same type of movie otherwise. So
you can't really choose one.
no.
They're all ingredients into this
Honestly,
delicious stew of woo.
If anything was missing, you'd be like, what happened? Why they not? That has to be a studio decision. Like
Yes,
that's
yeah.
the thing. Like And he had so much control in this movie and like took that script, which he did not write.
No,
He did not have a lot of effect on, and like John wooed it up. Like it's crazy how like
He
much
wooed
he
it up.
had freedom in this movie.
Woo! Best scene. So many good scenes.
Hold on. My
oh,
favorite
my-
wooism is the slow-mo.
okay.
Slow-mo.
Yes.
I started counting the scenes of slow-mo and I stopped at 12.
There's
and that
a
was
lot.
2/3 of the way through
Watching
the
Hard
movie.
Boiled, it was cranked up to 11. Watching Hard Boiled, it was even more so slow mo. There was just slow mo immediately, just in every scene. There was slow mo. It is definitely a wooism. All right, moving on to best scene. There's a lot of good ones. This is gonna be tough. The priest intro caper, that whole sequence of planting the bomb, the plane hangar capture fight, the prison reveal, the first face-off when we find out that Castor Troy has taken Archer's face, the assault on the penthouse somewhere over the Rainbow song, the reveal to Eve that Archer has Castor's face, the funeral scene, aka the Doves Unleashed, and then the boat chase / sand fight, which is honestly one of the best stunt sequences I've seen in a long time. I was shocked. Those stunt performers were the one guy was hanging off that boat. I couldn't believe it. Like going, it doesn't matter how fast that boat was going. It was going fast enough to make a significant wake. And if you've ever been around boats, that is so hard to do and so dangerous. I don't even know if he was strapped down or whatever. It just looked like one of the toughest stunts I've seen in a movie.
It was and that's for me the best scene. It's one of the most like jump the shark scenes, but it's also like just so fun.
It's crazy. I think that's what really brought this movie to another level for me, is like we had so much fun, just incredible sequences. We have the funeral scene with the actual like face off, more Mexican standoff. Felt like a Western, honestly, like felt like a Western movie, which Wu has that through a lot of his movies. He took a lot of inspiration from the spaghetti Westerns and brought that into a modern action genre. And then it kind of bleeds back into American cinema. So it's this full cycle happening. So we had that and I was like, this is an amazing movie. And then you have this boat chase, which is, we've seen a lot of boat chases in action movies. Of course, Live and Let Die is a big famous boat chase in the Bond franchise, but just the stunt performers doing this, I was just jaw on the floor the whole time. All right, we're talked enough about the boat chase, but Zach, want to bring you what's your favorite scene out of the movie?
I think it is the plane hangar. I've seen the assault on the penthouse is like a second, because I think that was a really creative move to play somewhere over the rainbow. And at the end, I really just love in the penthouse scene where they shoot into the mirror at each other.
Yes. Oh, it's so
very
good.
blatant on the theme there. Like we're very, very in our face because they're shooting at themselves essentially. And I love that so much.
That is good.
Which really reflects at the end when he starts cutting Travolta. It's Castor starts cutting Sean's face. And I think that's a really cool, like in order to beat the other guy, you have to damage yourself in a way. I think I like that.
Yeah, it's an intense ending too. It's like, oh wow, like they're going there with this. Like it's not generic.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, go ahead, Zach.
Yeah, and then like the plane hangar capture scene, I liked a lot because you don't get a lot of strong first act action scenes. I feel like in movies, and this goes to 11 off the top. You have a chicken scene, an airplane versus a car scene.
That's right.
Like who's gonna turn? You get like the high stakes moves of understanding like what Castor will do to get away. Like literally like shooting the FBI agent and throwing her off the plane. And you see it like how bloody this movie is gonna be with her face and how like no FBI agent will survive this essentially.
A lot of bodies.
And then the sparks, like it just keeps getting like you get fed all the wooisms except for the doves like off the top. And there's also some smart stuff in there, like when the plane is about to take off, like that. I really love like the helicopter just strafing with the plane for a long time and they're like shooting at the plane, but then to put the landing gear of the helicopter on the wing to stop it, I was like, oh, that's smart. Like I don't think you get a lot of like smart moves by action movies anymore. It's usually like the same kind of just
Tropes.
tropes, and same way, but just like dressed up in a fancier way with camera work or special effects. And that was like a smart move for me. So I actually do like the plane hangar scene most, just because it like really sets up this movie for what it is. Like if you thought this was a hockey movie before you walked in, now
It
you
is not a
officially
hockey
know
movie,
what it
Shannon.
is. Yeah, exactly. I'm sure Shannon was like, "Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah,
okay, I
this
know what I'm
is
going to get into."
not
Now.
a hockey movie. It's one of maybe another woo trope is just going right in with action. Like I think about Mission Impossible 2. We have the assault, the plane assault where they're stealing the Chimera virus, or it wasn't end up being the Chimera virus, and then we have right away the rock climb. I mean, it's just it's great when you have an action movie that just gets into it and is not afraid to go big right away. We've on this show we've talked about Tom Cruise, and the Mission Impossible movies are well known for this, but here's John Woo doing it in '97 in a big way. I don't know if I can choose one. I would say, but it's that intro from the priest scenes to the like when he gets captured, and then the funeral through the boat chase. Like those two tags are my favorite parts of the movie. But there are some really nice. I think the reveal to Eve is a really well acted scene. There obviously he goes for it a few times, but we'll talk about it. Cage is doing some stuff. Okay. Best line. Ooh wee, ain't you good looking? Oh well, plan B, let's just kill each other, into the mirrors. I thought this was a funny one. Lies, distrust, mixed messages. This is turning into a real marriage.
Yeah, I like that one too.
That's Troy as Archer. Die, I mentioned it. This was a subtle one where the daughter says, "Will someone please tell me what planet I'm on?" And I think that's I
love that.
That's like talking to the audience. Like, what planet are we on right now? We are on a different planet.
It's the only, other than just being annoying, like not annoying, but like very counter parent teenager. It's the only line that she really has that's original for the film, I'd say. And it's great.
This is a great one. Victor, when we put this thing to bed, you can brand the Fourth Amendment on my butt. That you just don't get that in movies anymore. That is action movie writing, baby.
Yeah, it's great that it's an open, because it's just like, oh, this is who this man is now. His son died, and this is what he's become.
He does not care.
Crabs. Yeah.
I'd like to take his face off. Excuse me.
I wrote this part because I think this is a great extension.
Wee move. That whole sequence.
Yeah. And then they just keep saying face off for like between Cassavetes and like the two other minions, Castor's other two minions. Like they say face off 3 more times. Wow.
They kept the cameras rolling, I think. That they just kept the cameras rolling, and people just started saying the title of the movie they're in.
Yeah.
Is this the movie?
That's what Shannon said when it happened. She was like, it's almost like that's the title of the movie.
I bet this is the movie where they say the title the most that's not necessarily associated. I'm trying to think of another example where maybe like it's a character's name, or it's like a planet's name, or it's a ship's name.
I like to think of it as like How I Met Your Mother, about how I found the movie title. And that was the moment, son, when I realized that this movie is called Face Off.
Face Off.
Yep.
Well, think about me. This nose, this hair, this ridiculous chin. The ridiculous chin was a nice jab at Travolta.
And he hated it. Like he complained. Like
I'm sure he didn't like it. Knowing John Travolta, he probably wasn't. What's the best line, friends?
I really like the "oh well, plan B, let's just kill each other."
It's a great one. I think it was in the trailer. I mean, it is awesome.
Mine's the Fourth Amendment thing. That just came out, and like it's the one where it's like, oh, these lines are gonna keep coming, and it's from Travolta rather than Cage, so it's a little out of the ordinary.
Yeah, because it's actual Archer saying that.
Yeah, it's fully Travolta doing his thing, and as a fan of Grease Travolta, like there is like a Travolta that can be fun and get some good one-liners in, and that felt like a good one. So
I love. Ooh, wee, ain't you good looking?
Ain't you good looking? Yeah.
And Die, of course.
So one other one that I wanted to ask about, and I didn't want to contribute to the best line because it's a overuse thing now, is the line, "I hate to see you go, but I love to watch you leave." Did this movie start that?
I don't know.
Because it's used a lot now.
I don't think so. I feel like that was a
Right.
well-known phrase maybe beforehand, but
Guys,
maybe not.
There's generative
It's-
AI for this. So the exact origin is unclear, but the phrase gained mainstream popularity after being used in the 1997
There it
movie.
is. There it
Face
is.
Off.
Cool. It just the way they serve it is like, oh, this is fun and kitschy, and you had never heard this.
That's
before.
true. The way it's acted, it's like he thought of it at that moment, like it was a brand new saying. It wasn't just really quick thrown out there like a bunch of 90s bros probably said to their girlfriends or wives. in the years following.
The final comment here is, so while Face Off helped cement it in the pop culture, it's probably a case of the movie popularizing, not inventing the phrase.
That makes sense.
Yeah, a lot of problematic dads were saying it for 30 years before this movie.
Where a lot of those phrases come from, problematic dads.
Yeah.
All right.
That's what I like about high school, girl.
Yeah.
Moving on to
All right.
best impersonation. This is really the face-off of the besties. Who did the other right, Travolta or Cage?
So what's the question here? Is the question here
Who did a better job impersonating the other actor?
Oh, see,
Yeah.
I feel like that's the wrong question
Okay.
because
Okay.
it's not impersonating the other actor, it's impersonating the other character.
That's right. Okay.
But is this movie just like a metaphorical smoothie of
no,
like
reduce it down to
Not
its lowest
metaphorical.
common denominator.
I think it's both things. I think the character and the man is both, because they're trying to capture the physical mannerisms of that person. So I think we're getting both. To me, there's a clear answer, but I don't know about you guys.
Zach, what do you
Agreed.
think?
I don't think it's as clear.
I have a gut, but I really struggle with this one throughout the movie. So if I really have to pick one, I'm gonna say Cage did the better job. But here's why I think I could be easily swayed off of that. I think Cage does the best job at stealing the screen. And so you come away from the movie with more moments of Cage just impressing you with his overall performance. So it could really just be me saying, well, I just remember more of Cage's performance. I remember more of the caster Troy. That doesn't necessarily, I could be convinced otherwise.
Yeah, and that's where I think for me this movie is a little meta. So it does act like we're trying to take two very famous actors and they bleed into the performances. So it's really hard, and that's one reason why they put them in rooms for 2 weeks to get their mannerisms and stuff like that together, because there are things that Travolta does, like the grab of the brow or these sad eyes that are I don't think Cage sells well. Cage tries to do Travolta, and that's what my thesis is it's more of Travolta doing
That's a
Cage
good
and Cage
point.
doing Travolta. I think that Cage does not do Travolta as well as Travolta does Cage. I think that it is more of Cage tries to act with Travolta's strongest quality, which is his face, his eyes. And it just makes him look like a sad man. All the things that are the outbursts, I don't feel like are Travolta things.
Yeah,
I feel like
probably
they're
not.
very cagey.
There.
And the problem is that there's so much tape after this movie that is Cage stuff. He does something that I saw in Kick-Ass, when he's the Big Daddy and the face-off scene where Travolta and Cage first see each other after they've switched faces, and Cage grabs Sean grabs Caster, and I hear Big Daddy in that. There's a lot of stuff that would follow later. I feel like Travolta does the Cage drawl that has been Cage up to this point really well. I think he does a lot more of the voice and the mannerisms rather than just trying to do a face act. I like that more. I think Travolta pulls through a little bit better.
Interesting. I think you guys convinced me. I was going to say Cage immediately, but I think both your points have convinced me that Travolta probably does better. It's just Cage stands out more, and if Cage just has done so much work compared to Travolta after this movie. I mean, they've both done a lot of work, but Cage has just much more diverse range of performances after this role. So I think you guys convinced me. However, I do think the reveal scene to the wife is where, and Cage does do some mannerisms, but I think that's where he does his best capturing the character of Sean.
That's
Because
true.
he waterfalls, doesn't he?
It all comes back to the waterfalls. But I think that
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
this debate is why this movie's so special, because you keep on chasing waterfalls.
Mhm.
All right, friends, let's wrap it up with ratings, meanings, and what's next.
I don't want no scrubs.
What did you rate this on Letterboxd, Mike?
I think I gave it 2.5 stars. Yeah. I'm very
Brutal.
critical.
Yes, we know.
I'm
we
very
know.
critical.
Yes, we know. We know.
So I had fun with it.
Let him try to excuse such a low rating. That's
That's okay.
Go ahead, Mike. Yeah,
It's
you
okay.
can talk it out. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I had fun, and I would encourage people to watch this movie, but like, when you look at like what it would have to compete with to get 3 stars, it's just ridiculous.
That's at Mike Wynne at Letterboxd if you want to comment.
Yeah,
on
that
it.
might win.
What's the one word? What's the one word review?
I'm trying to remember.
Hey, listeners are gonna have to look it up. The one word review, as Mike does on his Letterboxd.
Oh, I know what it is.
Yes.
Oh, I know what it is.
Zach,
I love it.
I struggled with it, but
No,
yeah,
there's no
I
struggle
remember
there.
it now.
There's 12 of them.
Yeah, it was Doves.
Okay, perfect. Apropos, Zach Hall. I think you're at Zach Hall on Letterboxd, by the way, for the listeners. and viewers.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, if you want to follow me, go ahead. Mine's 4. I think this is a really strong action movie, and that's why it didn't fall to the ocean floor of action movies. I think this one floats at the top. I mean, there's 3 that are Cage movies in the 90s that really hit. This is the 3rd of the 3. There's Con Air, there's The Rock, and then this one. There's also Snake Eyes, which I need to do a rewatch and see where that fits, but I think that's a 4th level.
To me, those 3 are a trilogy of Cage 90s action
Yeah.
movies. Like they all connect.
Yeah, they're literally the Dark Knight of Cage. Like it is so true. But yeah, it's a 4 for me because it's still a strong performance. Even the acting to me really feels strong in its own unhinged way. I think it still fits for what this movie is.
I was gonna do 3.5, and then that boat chase bumped it up half star. Just there's a lot of great stunt performances in this movie, a lot of stunt extras doing amazing work, but that stunt performance by those 2 actors, especially the one that was hanging off the boat while it was going full speed, it brought it up to 4 stars for me. Oh yes, we have Shannon's rating as well. We have to include Shannon's rating.
So Shannon gave it 2 stars.
Ooh, okay.
It was
Thought we could get a half there. I thought we could get a 3.
It was 1 star.
I
but
got 5.
because of how entertaining it was, it got an extra star.
You know what? I'm just glad you watched it. That's an impressive feat to begin with. Thank you, Shannon. All right, what does this movie mean to you, gentlemen? Let's start with Mike.
I think this movie means not a whole lot, to be honest.
What did watching this movie mean to you?
You guys are gonna make the argument, like the ethos argument, like what this movie means, like in the grand scheme of like 90s action and like what we get today, and it's just like that's all true and like sure, but like I'm probably gonna watch this movie one more time in my life. I'm not really going to like. It's not like a movie that's on like my like Inception we talked about. It's a movie I'm gonna force my kids to watch. This movie is not.
It's what means to you. I mean, I think that's valid. It's super valid.
I feel like for Mike, this would be something that you have. Let's say you have like a 2.5 hour, 3 hour flight. You're gonna put this movie on. This is a great plane movie. Okay.
This is a good fall asleep movie, Mike.
Yeah, I think yeah, I would probably, I'd probably rewatch the Bourne movies before I rewatch this. I still really liked it. I
Wow.
still really liked it, but like, it's just where it is.
Somehow that's a win.
Zach, I'm glad that Zach's happy. That's all that matters to me.
Yeah.
I'm afraid if we do Point Break, I don't know if we could do Point Break on this show, because if Mike has a below a 3, I'll be disappointed.
I like Point Break.
What?
Guys.
Okay, we can do it.
Is it the surfing or the masks? It's all the masks, isn't it?
It's everything.
He's in. He's in. All right,
I love
Zach.
that.
What does this movie mean to you?
Yeah, I think essentially it is. I don't have a lot of nostalgia around this movie. I watched it in my 20s for the first time and rewatched during COVID, and this is my third time watching it. And I think it's just honestly the VHS cover says it all. Again, I think you can really go deep. I could go into how John Woo has this thing about Greek mythology that he inserts into all these movies and stuff like that. I'm not going to do that today for you guys. Instead, I'm going to say
That's on
that
the Woo cast.
this is entertaining, and this is something that I won't show a kid because I don't want to influence them and how they treat women, because this movie is not a good example of how to do that. But
Yes.
instead, I would say it's still, for someone as a 90s kid like me, this takes me back into the 90s. And I think that's what I love about it, the good and the bad and some of the grandiose of it all. And that's why I like this movie, and that's why I brought it to you guys. And I'm really happy, and thank you for watching it. It just feels good to be able to put this on the screen some days.
I'm glad you brought it. Like, my opinion of the movie aside, like, I had fun. I liked it.
And that's exactly what I was hoping you would say, but I did not even think that you would say that during this episode, Mike. So it feels like feels amazing. I thought you would like just.
I
die.
feel like me
Have
and you right
comment.
now are having like a Sean Archer and his daughter moment.
His daughter.
Not
I
the
really
licking
feel
of the
like-
face.
No.
but the catharsis at
After
the
he
end.
comes back to himself, yes. And adopts a child.
No. I mean the licking of the face.
Oh, I really thought you were just, bending down to tie my shoe. That's what I thought. But I'll take a face look any day.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. This movie means to me, and I appreciate you, Zach, bringing it, because, like I said earlier, it reminded me that sometimes when you're doing creative work or any work, it's okay just to go for it and let loose your creativity and, get your freak on, show your freak side, and just go for it, because some magic can happen when you don't worry about what people are thinking and you just let go and have fun. And that's what this movie is all about for me. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Zach, for coming back on. We're glad this was a fun movie for you to bring to us, and we didn't force you to do a sequel. You will hear Zach on future episodes. He's a part of this Least Important Things community and friends. Up next, we're right into the peak of sports, fall sports, football, basketball is coming back, hockey. So we're going to be talking about the best fictional coaches coming up next week. Until then, thank you, gentlemen. Hang on to your faces. Face off.
Face off.
Face off.
Waterfall.
Wonderful.